Alright, so I have audio now, so I will make a short video for you guys to show you how to do the scan to scale. The second half of it, that is, where we're actually taking a mesh file in a .obj, and we will be importing it into Mesh Mixer. So first thing you want to do is you want to download the given mesh. As you can see, it's an OBJ, and I'm just saving it to my downloads. And you're not going to open it here, but you're going to come down and you're going to find your mesh mixer. You might have to search for it. It might be on your desktop, and you're going to launch it. Once it's launched, you can go ahead and expand it out, and you're going to import that file. And Jess was nice enough to let us use her stuff. And as you can see, this is the mesh file in all its glory. So we walked through this previously in class, but I thought making a video would be helpful with the audio, because that way I can dive a little bit deeper into the different functionalities of Mesh Mixer to help you guys out. So this is your overall kind of default import, but to give you an idea of the data aspect of it, if we come down here, you'll have all these different kind of functionalities as well as the hotkeys. And so if I go show wireframe and I zoom in, you can see all these different polygons, all these different vertex and triangles. And if you want a count of that, you can kind of see it down here in this left-hand corner or the right-hand corner. But this is kind of what makes this organic shape its given shape. So we're going to clean it up. We're going to post-process it, which is an important part of this. And being that that's kind of a default dark, can't really see it, I'm going to hit the W key and bring it back to this, because it's just a little bit easier to work with. Now, when you bring it in here, notice the orientation of it. Like, this is your flat plane, this is kind of your reference plane, this is your center dot right there. So that's your kind of center of mass of this object. And it's kind of in this weird plane. So first thing we want to do is we want to align it. So we can see this is the back side of our view, and then you have these little triangles at the top, and you can turn it this way, or you can actually just right click and move it around as well. But it's a good idea to always orientate the object first. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to go down to Edit, and we're going to hit Transform, and that's going to launch this little mover icon right here, and we're just going to align it. So I don't really care about the back of the hand and the front of the hand and whatnot, but for this video I'll try to align it with that. So you have your rotation. We want to do a vertical rotation. Just kind of eyeball it the best you can, and then you're just going to kind of work through these different planes to kind of realign it. So I'm going to use the blue, and that's more the curve, so I'm going to have to bring that down a little bit and find my orientation, which is there. Oh, there's another one. This is your local, and this is your world view. So that'll help you as well. I should have pointed that out. So there's the world, and now I can rotate it to face the back. So this is the top, the back of the hand, the left, which looks like it needs to be turned a little bit more. So we'll do that. So again, this is kind of the world, and then this is the local. So this is based off the object when it came in. This is based off the coordinates plane that's in the actual mesh mixer itself. So just to keep that in mind. So let's go back to that. That looks a lot better. Let's look at the front of the hand. That looks pretty good. Vertical. Maybe align the wrist a little bit better. There we go. And you just kind of rotate it and work it. One main reason I picked this model is you can see there's a little bit of extension in the wrist, and usually we want to place the person's hand in a little bit of extension if we were going to make them a brace, which is pretty much the point of this today, to understand how to work around organic objects versus kind of what we've been doing up to this point, which is more, I think of them as engineered sharp corner objects. All right, that looks pretty good. So we've got the back of the hand, the front of the hand, that's all good. We're going to hit accept now, and that's going to kind of lock everything in place. And now we need to kind of finish closing up these holes and maybe cut off this ugliness down here. So let's do that first. So we're going to do a plain cut, and you can see the positive part of the hand that's seen, and then the negative, and that's going to be the part that's going to actually be cut. And I'm just going to bring it down. I want to capture some of the wrist. I'm not going to worry about too much of this right here, just because we can fix that when we fill it, but right about there, because again, we're going to build a brace that's going to be pretty much stabilizing the wrist joint. So you have a couple different options in this plain cut box. We want to discard the other half, or do we want to keep it, or whatnot? For us, just the default of discarding it is fine. And then do we want to remesh afterwards? Yes. And a remesh is pretty much reorganizing all the different triangles. So that's what we're trying to do there. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to fill these holes, and we're actually going to use the analysis and the inspection, and you can kind of see all these different spots right here. This is the software itself identifying the different defects within the program, and you just kind of go and you click on them, and you notice it closed up that hole. We got a hole there. We want to make this watertight. Click, close it up. I'm saving this one for last, and you just kind of go through these different areas. You can auto repair all, but this is the easiest way to go about it, because you actually get to see all the different changes that are being impacted, infected, and you know, it doesn't really matter because we're not using any of the anatomy or the morphology of the fingers, but I'm just doing best practices at this point. Notice there's different color differences, and that's mostly because it's different kind of defects. So holes versus rough textures. So we're just going to auto repair those all. And then the last piece is this one. Now this is the important one because this is what's going to make it watertight. So when I click on it, and it's thinking about it because it's a bigger hole, and we're waiting. I can't even move it around right now. It's probably because I'm recording and using a 3D program on my ancient laptop. Sorry, I have to record a video.
Huh?
Sorry, I have to record a video. Okay. You're good. It's not that important, but just as you're wondering why I'm talking to myself.
Oh, I thought you were talking to us too, so it's okay. Now I know.
Yeah. So there you go. And there's the watertight mesh to it. And I'm recording this in the front office, so that's what's going on there. But look at that. Doesn't that look pretty great now? So cool. The next thing we're going to do is we are now going to start outlining the rough shape of the cast, or the brace, or the stabilizing device. I mean, we're calling it a brace, but there's a lot of different applications you can use with this basic workflow. So now we're actually going to go to select, and you notice when I do this, it kind of gives this shadow here. I'm going to bring that down just a hair, which will make my little shadow smaller, because this is my paintbrush now. Okay, so we are going to do the unwrap brush. You can do the sphere brush too, and that helps with the angles. You zoom in, so you can kind of see. Now it gives me not just a two-dimensional of the surface, but also gives me a little bit of some atmosphere to play with as well. And this is where the kinesiology eye comes handy, because now we are just trying to brace in certain spots. I usually like to start with a given line, and some artistic talent also helps here. See, I already made a mistake. I probably don't want to put this brace this high around the knuckles. So I'm going to hit Control Z, which is like my undo, universal undo. And I'm actually going to start over. So select, I want to make it a little bit lower. That way those finger joints can move. And then I'm actually going to come underneath it, and then I'll come back around. And say if you do make a mistake, and say like how I cut this in a little low and I need it to maybe come up, you can just go over it, and that does pretty good. If you need to take some away, you can actually hold Control, and you can take it away too. All right, so that's that one. Bring that back up, trim that up there, and I'm going to make the bottom half of the brace. I would probably want to do it lower, but I'm going to come up just a hair more. And we'll rotate it around, rotate it around, rotate it around. Okay, so see how that's a little bit crooked? Actually, I did some pretty straight lines, but if that's not the case, here's another tool we can do. So leaving this select option open, we can come up to edits, and then we can come down to, oh, my mistake, modify, and we can do smooth boundaries. Okay, so when I'm going to go smooth boundaries, it's going to identify these. I want to smooth it 100% because that's going to give me the straightest line. All right, and notice how it says boundary rings. We can make it down to 1 if we want to, and that will make it a little bit smaller. But that gives us an idea of what it would look like with those 1 rings, where I can move it out a little bit more. And what it's doing is it's capturing all those vertexes and triangles around it, which will actually create more of an average, so the mean of all these different data points, and kind of gives that line. So that looks pretty good. All right, now I'm going to hit accept. And look how straight those lines are now. Cool. So next thing I want to do is just fill in the blank, or fill in what's left in the middle, which is blank, which is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, just to make my time better. There is a shortcut key that would, auto paint all of this, but I think it's a little bit satisfying to do this all by hand. Oh, I made a mistake down here. That's okay. We're going to hit Control, and I take that away. And there we go. Alright, and the last thing I want to do is build my stabilizing structure around the thumb. And, we probably should be a little bit more medically driven with our basic case study, which is what this is, but we're just kind of eyeballing it. It's more of a technology class anyway. All right, so that gives us a given ring. I can do the boundary thing here as well, but for time and purposes, I'm just going to leave it alone. But that looks pretty good. All right, so now we're going to go modify and edit, and we're going to do offset. Now this is important because this is what's going to define the comfort of the brace itself. And we're waiting. And we're back. So there we go. I paused it during that brief processing, but a little bit hard because I can't get too close to it, but we can kind of see a little bit of a gap right here. And we can see, that's one of the limitations with this program. You can't get too close on things, but we can see a little bit of a gap right there. So we know we did the offset. And I only did a 0.88 distance offset, which is probably too small. So I'm actually going to do it one more time. And just to show you guys the difference, I'm actually going to do a 5mm offset, which is probably too big. But say if we were putting some kind of padding in there, then we probably would go something at least this, maybe a little bit bigger. So again, you have to use your professional eye. Hello.
Are you done recording?
I can pause it.